Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivadadhari Jaya Girivadadhari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivadadhari Jaya Girivadadhari Yashodanandana Jaya Rajajanaranja Jaya Rajajanaranja Yashodanandana Jaya Rajajanaranja Jaya Rajajanaranja Yamuna Tiravana Chani Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chani Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravana-chari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. He Krishna karuna sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasa Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today I thought we could discuss on the subject of why listen to Krishna. Why listen to Krishna? You can leave it there. Why should I bother to listen to Krishna? Many of us may already be convinced of why we should listen to Krishna, but then again, even we may be convinced on some level, we may ask ourselves, okay, I'm convinced that it's a good idea to listen to Krishna, but sometimes it's good to review why is it good to listen to Krishna. And even if we think we know good reasons to listen to Krishna, we might ask ourselves, am I really listening to Krishna? Am I paying attention? Is Krishna trying to communicate with me and I'm not listening? Which of course is a question of attention. Where are we directing our attention? And that's an interesting question because when we think about our thinking, it's something we become aware of, is that we can direct our attention in different directions, in different ways. If you are ever in a room with lots of people and they're all talking to each other, and you may be having a conversation with one of those people, but you hear some words spoken by somebody else to somebody else, and some of your attention goes there, and maybe you're a little curious, what are they talking about? So you're trying to speak, your attention is on your own conversation, and some other conversation catches your attention. What are they saying? And then you realize, oh, I can't really do both. I can't divide my attention, at least not very well. We try. We've all become very clever at different sorts of multitasking. You know this expression, multitasking. Yeah, where we have our mobile phone and we're checking WhatsApp and Facebook and at the same time sort of listening. So, attention. It's interesting to think about attention. Is there a problem with the translation? We need help. Okay. Yeah, so I thought we could, I put together just a few verses from the second and third chapters of Bhagavad Gita to help us think about this subject of why listen to Krishna. And we can start. Let's see if this will work. Yes. We can start with an interesting verse. We could chant this together. kārpaṇya-doṣopahata-svabhāvaḥ pṛcchāmi tvāṁ-sammūḍha-cetāḥ yat śreyasya niścitam brūhi me śiṣyas teham śādhi tvām prapannam. Now, who's very good at reading English aloud? Who can read the translation? Any volunteer? No volunteer. Everyone's very shy. Can you see from there?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of misery weakness.
Miserly weakness. Yeah.
In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Now that you have the microphone and you have a little practice, now you can do it again.
Okay. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Very good. Thank you. Now, who's speaking this verse? Arjuna, yeah. And who is he speaking to? To Krishna. Very good. Now, there are lots of things interesting about this verse, and we could just focus on this, but for my topic, which is why listen to Krishna, I think it's nice just to first hear what is Arjuna's mood. He seems to be quite eager. He wants to listen to Krishna. And what are the reasons that he's giving for wanting to listen to Krishna? So the first reason is kārpaṇya-doṣa. He's recognizing in himself a fault, doṣa. I don't think any of us would claim, even in maybe in our secret moments by ourselves, but we might not want to claim, I am perfect. Anybody? No, actually I am perfect. Maybe not, especially not in public. We won't say it, right? At home we'll look in the mirror. Perfect. So, so Arjuna is saying, I have a fault, a doṣa. And what is the fault? Kārpaṇya. Kārpaṇya is related to kripana. And kripana is what Srila Prabhupada is, or kārpaṇya is what he's translating as miserly. What would be a Slovenian word for miserly? Kopuški? Skopuški. Ja sam skopuški. No, that was... Oh, it doesn't work. You have to get the grammar right. Okay. Sorry. We won't go there now. All right. And he's feeling this in his svabhava, his very nature, his own, we might say, his own spirit. Within his spirit, he is feeling this. And he's also feeling dharma-sammūḍha-cetāḥ, that his ceta has become mudha, has become foolish, sammūḍha, thoroughly foolish. And so he's saying this very honestly about himself. And so it's a kind of confession, right? He's saying, look, this is how I am, and so I'm approaching you, Krishna, for advice. Now there's a little detail here that I find interesting and has a bit to do with Sanskrit grammar. So here comes your little Sanskrit grammar lesson for the day. We have two verbs in this verse, and they're both in what is called the imperative form. Imperative, when you command, do this. So one of these verbs is brūhi. Brūhi is translated by Prabhupada as tell me. Brūhi me, tell me. And the other is śādhi, and śādhi is translated as instruct. So here's Arjuna commanding Krishna to do something. Isn't that interesting? Now, why can he do that? Huh? Yes, Krishna is in the position of a servant of Arjuna. He has agreed to be Arjuna's taxi driver, in a sense, to be his chariot driver. Actually, there's a lot involved in being a chariot driver, including giving advice to the warrior. Anyway, that's kind of a detail. But so we get a sense from this that Arjuna is really serious about wanting to hear from Krishna. Tell me for certain what is best for me. Niścitam means definite. Tell me definitely what to do. What is best? Śreyaḥ, tat śreyaḥ, yat śreyaḥ. Tell me what is best, and tell me. Why should you tell me this? Because I'm now taking a I'm changing the relationship. Instead of being the master, the warrior, now I'm your student. So he says, Yat śreyas yan niścitam brūhi śiṣyas, śiṣyas teham. Śiṣya means student. And mam tvām prapannam. I am literally I've fallen down to you. I'm taking shelter of you. So this is Arjuna's mood. He wants to listen to Krishna, and these are his reasons why. Okay, before I continue, I should ask, at what time should I stop? What's our schedule? 4:30 by the schedule. We'll make it 4:32. Okay, well. India time. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Good. Okay, when I can hear your stomachs grumbling, because you're hungry, then I'll know time to stop. Okay, here we go. Esha te bihita sankye buddhir yoge tvimang shrinu buddhya yukto yaya parta karma bandhang prahasyasi. Translation? Yes.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pirita, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Okay, very good. Now, why did I choose this verse to think about why to listen to Krishna? Well, just before this, Krishna has been explaining a couple of things. One is the difference between the soul and the body, and the other is he's been, in very rhetorical ways, urging Arjuna to fight because he's a Kshatriya, and because he'll lose his reputation if he doesn't fight. And then here we have a little shift. What Krishna's doing is he's saying, I've explained to you some things in a certain way, and now I'm going to explain things to you in a different way. And there's going to be a result of this if you listen, right? And so here we also have a verb in the imperative form. And this is the word shrinu. And this will come more times in the Bhagavad Gita. Now Krishna is saying to Arjuna, and therefore he's saying to us, listen. And why should we listen? Well, he's saying, first of all, what he's going to explain, that he is going to explain in terms, he's going to explain knowledge in a certain way, which has to do with work or action without what he calls fruitive results. This is, Srila Prabhupada is giving a somewhat loose translation here, but I won't go into the details. Now, what does he say though at the end? He says, Buddhya yukto yaya partha, by means of this by means of this buddhi, by means of this, can be translated as reasoning, or by this rationality, or can mean intelligence. By means of this, what can happen? Karma bandham prahasyasi. And here Krishna is speaking quite definitely. Prahasyasi, you will be released. What will you be released from? From the bandham, from the bondage of karma. So this should be interesting for us. Why? Because if we understand a little bit about this principle of karma, then we start to understand, oh, actually, that's my problem. My problem is karma. I am bound. I am constrained. You know this word, constrained? Huh? Yes, sounds good. So just like he said, so I'm constrained by my karma. What if I could become free from it? At this point, if we're a little reflective, we hopefully will come to the conclusion that would be a good idea, that would be a good thing, to become free from the bondage of karma, because that's the bondage that we all experience and all suffer from. All means all of us in this room, everyone who has a physical, material body. Hare Krishna. Do you have a physical body? Anybody here? Looks like it, but then again, maybe I'm in illusion. Maybe it's just me. That's called solipsism, when I think the only thing that really exists is me. And all of you are just my imagination. Hare Krishna. Would you agree to that? Maybe not. Yeah, so we all have this problem. So Krishna is saying, Tat Shrinu, listen to me, because I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you free. So what do you think? Would that be a good reason to listen to Krishna? Might be, yeah. Okay, let's continue. All right, let's chant. Na me partastik artavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva chakarmani. And who's going to translate? Maybe you should again, because you have the microphone.
Okay. O son of Pirta, there is Partha, there is
Prita.
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 Okay, thank you. O son of Pirta, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Okay, now how could this help us become convinced that we should, that it's good to listen to Krishna? Here, Krishna is speaking something about himself. He's telling us about himself. We meet somebody new, we introduce ourselves, my name is so-and-so, what's your name? We shake hands. Where are you from? What do you do? We want to know some basic things about. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita tells us a good number of things about himself. And what he tells us here is interesting in relation to what we just heard before, karma bandham prahasyasi. Krishna was saying, you listen to me and you can become free from karma. Now, what is Krishna talking about? He's talking about himself in relation to karma, and he's saying, I'm free from karma. And he's explaining that with a little more detail. Kartavya, this is related to the word karma. Kartavya means that which should be done. And in other words, a duty. So karma is usually about what we should do in the traditional understanding, what we should do. And now Krishna says, na me partha, o partha, na asti kartavyam me. There is of me no duty. I don't have to do anything. Now this contrasts with all of us. We all have things that we have to do. We all have a sense of duty. We have duties in relation to others, and many sorts of duties in relation to different sorts of persons. And Krishna is saying, I don't have any of that. Okay, that might be a reason to listen to Krishna, because he's in a different place, or we say in modern sort of English, not slang, but sort of common English, we say, he's in a different space. He's in a different space. Na anavaktam avaktavyam. I don't have to get anything. There's nothing that I'm in need of. But varta eva cha karmani. This is interesting. He's just said, I don't have to do anything, I don't want anything, but I still do things. I still act. And he will elaborate on what he does, especially in the beginning of the 4th chapter, what he does in relation to the world. But the point here is simply that he said before, listen to me and you can become free from the bondage of karma. And now he's giving us more reason why it makes sense to listen to him in this respect. Why? Because he is free from the bondage of karma. And there are several verses that he explains that further. Are we... is this making sense? Is it interesting? Okay. Just checking. Okay. Now it gets really interesting. Okay, together. Sa eva ayam maya tedya yoga prokta puratana bhakto sime sakacheti rahasyam hyetad uttamam.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Okay, now Krishna speaking with Arjuna, and now Krishna is telling Arjuna what his qualification is to hear. And at this point, we might feel like, well, yeah, that's Arjuna, but I'm not Arjuna. Bhakta asi, you are a bhakta. Saka, Sakha cha. And you are my friend. You're a friend. So we could say, well, I'm not a bhakta, and I'm not really Krishna's friend. I'm not his friend, so I'm not his bhakta. I'm not his bhakta, so I'm not his friend. So, hey, I'm not qualified, so I'll just close the Bhagavad Gita and forget it. Maybe next life. No, that's not what Krishna is saying. He's inviting us to become like Arjuna, to become bhakta like Arjuna, to become friend of Krishna like Arjuna. And Krishna is also explaining then what is the result, another result. Shri Shri Panchatattva ki jai. They're looking especially bright today. He's telling another, well, it's kind of implied result, which Srila Prabhupada in his translation is giving. Rahasyam hi etad uttamam proktaha. I am telling you this yoga, which Prabhupada translates as this ancient science, because in the previous two verses Krishna is explaining, I spoke this millennia ago, and it was passed down over the ages, and then it got lost. So now I'm telling it to you, but it's the same thing that I'm telling you that I spoke before. It's the same. It's not that I've thought, after a while, what I taught before, actually, no, it doesn't work anymore. No, it's not true anymore. It's out of fashion. Now I'm going to teach you something much more cool. No, he says, I'm telling you the same, what was told before. But now, because I'm telling you, because you're my friend, you're my devotee, you'll be able to understand, even though it is rahasya. Rahasya means secret, confidential, mystery. Prabhupada translates transcendental mystery. It's a mystery. Everybody likes mysteries, isn't it? Anyone read mystery stories? Come on, confess. So few of you. There's no mystery in Slovenia. Everything is clear and straightforward, and everyone's very honest. And nobody reads anymore. We're just watching TV. Yeah. So we like mysteries, and we like to be in on the secret of a mystery, isn't it? We want to find out what happens next. So Krishna says, Rahasyam hetad uttamam. This is the highest mystery. This is the most confidential knowledge. And you are going to be able to understand it. Why? Because you are bhakta. Because you are my friend. You're on my side. So Krishna is inviting. You can also join. You can also listen in as Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. Okay, I think we could take one more verse. Well, this is kind of a detail where Krishna is explaining something more about his transcendent position. Na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu agnena navritam jnanam tena muhyanti chantavaha.
Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
So Krishna is just making a contrast here between himself and us. We are implicated, you know this word? We're implicated in this world because of our karma. And again, Krishna is saying, I'm not implicated. There's no papa, there's no sin, there's no impurity that affects me. Okay, I won't spend more time on that. Now comes a famous verse. Many of you will know this. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantim richati. Now Krishna is inviting us to understand what Srila Prabhupada called the peace formula. A formula in the sense that there are three features of Krishna which, if we understand, gyatva means having understood or understanding, then what's the result? Shantim richati, you will gain peace. So here's another motivation to listen to Krishna. Understanding he has these three qualifications. What are they in English? You can read the translation.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor of well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Now, someone might read this or hear this and think, who does this Krishna think he is? He really thinks he's something. He thinks he's the enjoyer. He thinks he's the Lord of everything. He thinks that he is the suhridam, the good friend in my heart. I don't know about that. But Krishna again is inviting us to take this as a possibility. What if it would be the case that there is some person who has these characteristics? What if that would be the case? What would be the implications of that? And Krishna is suggesting one implication, and that implication is gyatvam shantim richati. You will become peaceful. And the implication goes so far if we think a little deeply about this. What if a large number of the population would appreciate this about Krishna? That means more and more people would become peaceful. And if those peaceful people would be noticed by others as being peaceful, then they might open up to understanding also. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutam. Then they would become peaceful, and then this whole planet could become shanti, shanti, shanti. Now, at this point, someone will say, no, that sounds too boring. We don't want peace, we want war. We want to fight, we want to argue, we want to have 17 political parties. I understand you have in Slovenia 17 political parties. Yeah, let's all make and that makes life interesting. That's what we're thinking. But actually that's making our life shorter because we're in anxiety all the time. Anyway, So this is another reason to listen to Krishna. I have 1 minute before I turn into a pumpkin. I'm going to jump this one. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya Asangshayam Samagrang Man Yata Yasasi Tatshrinu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pirtha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt."
This is a very powerful statement, and it's again in the form of an imperative, shrinu. It's just a technical Sanskrit point that it's spelled here CH instead of S, the last word, tat shrinu. It has to do with connection to the previous word. Sandhi rule, it's called. But Krishna is saying, Shrinu, listen. And what's the result of listening? He's inviting us again. He says, practicing yoga, yogam yunjan, engaging in yoga, in my shelter, mat ashraya, then what happens? Asangshayam, without doubt, samagram, complete in all respects, mam gyasasi, you will know me in all respects. It's future tense, gyasyasi, but it's in the form of a promise, actually. You will know. It's not maybe you'll know, and it would be nice if you know, and if you like, you could know, and there's a chance you could know. No, you will know. And what will you know? You will know Krishna, Mam. Free from doubt. So does that sound like something worthwhile to do? To hear Krishna? No? The ladies say yes, the men say no. There's a two-party system here. Hare Krishna. Okay, so these are just some of the reasons of so many reasons for us to hear from Krishna. But again, can we be reflecting, am I really listening to Krishna? I say I listen to Krishna, but am I really listening to Krishna? And to make sure that we're listening to Krishna, the recommendation is keep going back to Bhagavad Gita, to Krishna's words. And you may find Krishna is speaking to you personally. But we have to give our attention to Krishna for that to happen. Okay. Is that okay? All right. Thank you for your kind attention, for translation. I hope this was in some way helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful remainder of the day and the whole this coming week. And I hope you'll be inspired to hear about and chant about Krishna. What would a Sunday feast lecture be without concluding by saying, let us therefore chant Krishna's names, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Ljubljana Yatra ki jai. Hare Krishna.